All right, I'm here with Tommy Adams. Welcome to the podcast, Tommy.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah. So, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and
Okay,
tell us who you are, and
okay,
we'll go from there.
cool. So my name is Tommy Adams, full government name Thomas Wayne Adams Jr. I'm not going to give you my social security number, but I'm from California. I grew up right outside of LA, maybe 30 minutes east. If anybody from LA knows, they'll say it's not LA, but nobody else knows it out here, of course. Um, Came to Japan 12 years ago. Actually, for the first time, 14 years ago, for my graduation trip from college. It was just a week in Tokyo, and it was just a bunch of two of my best friends, and actually one of them is coming in 2 days. Sorry, I'm getting a bit off track, but came here 12 years ago. I was working for an English conversational school called Eon until 3 years ago. I've been all about with that, so I want to know about that. After that, I became a manager for Toshin. Toshin is a big juku, a cram school in Japan, and I was literally just like a salary man in charge of way too much. And we could talk about that later if we want, but
Yeah.
I was in charge of way too much, and it just consumed my life. My social life went down the drain. And can I say bad words?
Oh, dude, I'm
Okay.
yeah. There's no censorship on this.
All right.
So
Cool. No, because I was trying to self-censor, but
no, dude,
um,
don't hold anything back, man.
all right,
Yeah.
cool. So after Toshin, I went to my current company. It's called Day Prep. It's Saito Juku. It's another Juku, but I just do media content creation. So I'm literally in a studio all day, recording my voice, recording my face for videos, editing up to, not up to, a minimum of 17 videos per week. I'm responsible for uploading for thousands of students to see and study their English.
Wow. Wow.
That's my day job. I do a lot of video and photography work on my days off after work. The last month and a half has been crazy with what I've been doing video wise, but I've finally hit a lull. I don't have anything planned yet. No, I just got something today. But that's pretty much me.
Hey,
Used to
man.
DJ. Sorry, used to DJ, used to make music. Don't really do the music thing anymore, but I'd like to get back into that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's it.
Well, hey, I mean, it's good that you got stuff going on. I mean, it's better than
Yeah.
just sitting around with nothing to do.
Oh, dude, I have
Yeah.
way too much to do. Way
That's
too much to do.
yeah. So now you said you first came to Japan 14 years ago for that just to visit, right? So
Yeah.
where did your interest in Japan start?
So when I was if I go back, not as far back as when it started, but when I started college, I already had like a bit of an interest in Japanese media, video games. The only anime I really like was like Dragon Ball Z and Ranma and a half. And my best friend and I, who I mentioned earlier, he's coming to Japan in 2 days. We grew up together since 6 years old, and we used to always go to like the Asian market. We call it was Chinese, and they would sell Dragon Ball Z cards. My mom used to drive us there all the time, elementary school, to pick up these Dragon Ball Z cards, and we used to go to the LA comic convention to buy the subtitled versions of all the Dragon Ball Z episodes and movies. So that was literally it. Like video games first and anime second, because I didn't even know like Dragon Ball Z was an anime. I didn't know it was a manga. I didn't know Ranma and a Half was an anime or a manga. I didn't know Pokemon was an anime or a manga because I played the video games first.
Okay.
And that's just how detached I was from like anime and manga. It was just literally the video games came first. So that takes me from like elementary school all the way up to college. And after 5 years, I graduated, and I was gonna come to Japan by myself. I was thinking of where to go because I already did like a almost 1 month kind of tour around Europe,
Okay.
and I was like, all right, cool. I love Europe, but I wanted to see somewhere else, so I was like, oh, why not go to Japan? So I asked my best friend, and he wasn't able to go. And then one of my other friends, who's also another really, 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 really good friend, he was like, "Hey, I want to go." So it was like, "Cool, it's gonna be us two." and we got our passports and everything. Down to the last minute, my best friend's like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna go too."
Hmm.
So it was like three of us, and we came here. It was funny. We landed on leap year, February 29th, and it was just before like Hinamatsuri. So we were all like kind of confused. Where are all these dolls in a hotel? We were in a Tokyo Hilton in Shinjuku, and it was just the coldest. We did not prepare for the cold. We were all from California, and it's February in Tokyo. It was just cold, and we were dressed in short sleeve shirts, and I had to buy a jacket. It was an adventure, but an adventure that I think planted the seed with me eventually moving here 2 years after that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, you obviously love the country enough to want to move here. You said two
Yeah.
years after that you moved here, and you got a job
Yep.
with Eon. So
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with that company as well.
Right.
That's how I
Right.
started. And in
Right.
fact, the funny story is when I got the job, I was doing research about Eon online, and I found your blog. You had like a blog at the time.
I
So
literally remembered that today when I was telling my friend about this interview,
yeah,
and she was like, "Oh, what type of interview are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing it with my friend Shea," and I was like, "Wait a minute, I think he read my blog, and that's how we've known each other.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That
weird,
was like
but
10 years ago. Oh, more than 10 years
right,
ago now. Yeah, yeah. So
right, that's weird, man.
yeah, there were
Full
like
circle.
there were two blogs I found. One was yours, and then one was
Right.
a guy that, um, not the guy that I've replaced in
Oh,
Utsunomiya,
okay.
but the guy before him. He wrote a
Okay.
blog,
Okay.
and so because I knew I was coming to Utsunomiya, and I found his blog, and he was writing all about the city, and the
Wow.
prefecture I'm in, and I thought, wow, this is cool, and
Okay.
I picked his brain too. But he's moved back to Canada, has a family, so
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Um,
And here I am still here.
hey, there's no shame in that, man. So
Oh
you've
no,
been,
dude.
yeah, I mean, um, I've I've been here. I actually last week I celebrated my 10-year Japan
Holy
anniversary.
shit,
Yep,
dude.
yep,
Congrats,
yep.
dude.
About a
Nice.
week
Wait,
ago.
we're quite similar because mine was July 7th.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mine
you're in
was
August.
August 23rd. Yeah, so about a
Nice,
week
man.
ago.
Cheers to that, dude.
Thank you. Now, I mean, that's I pretty much have lived here the entire time, but I've gone back once, and then it was just a short time.
Okay.
I'm not talking about like visiting back once. I mean,
Okay, 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 okay.
I moved back to the States once, and
Okay.
then
Me too.
it was just so short that I was like, nah, I'm coming back. So yeah. So
I did the same thing. I get it. I get it.
now, when you first moved to Japan, you did move to Tokyo. Is that correct?
Correct. I lived in Nagoya. Nagoya is my Japanese hometown. I stayed there for 3 years working for Eon.
Okay, okay. Tell me a bit about living in Nagoya. I've only passed through there on Shinkansen, so I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, there's not much to know. But without it, I owe Nagoya my Japanese ability. There's not a lot of foreigners. There weren't a lot of foreigners. There weren't a lot of Japanese people who speak English. So that it's a double-edged sword. So I was able to learn the language a lot quicker through my coworkers and interacting with Japanese people because I am quite outgoing and I meet people and I try to communicate the best that I can. And there's no smartphones at the time. So a lot of writing notes in a notebook, having people write down the Japanese of what they said and I don't understand, and going to my head teacher at Eon the next day and being like, yo, what did this person say? And I didn't really have a basis. I studied Spanish for 5 years, and luckily the vowel sounded the same. And, I watched, anime, but I was pretty much in one ear and out the other because I had subtitles. So I wasn't super interested in like Japanese culture or the language. So when I came here, I was just like literally a clean slate. But without Nagoya, I wouldn't be able to speak Japanese. But I think the food is absolutely amazing. I will never, ever, ever. I think the best food in Japan is all in Nagoya.
Really? Okay.
And definitely, definitely, definitely. But it was. So I went to a college that did not party. So my 3 years in Nagoya were pretty much making up for that. If you pay attention to my Instagram or Facebook, you can tell I haven't really stopped that 12 years later. But Nagoya was like my college life that I never had.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting that your college wasn't really a party college. I always thought every college was pretty much a party college. But
Yeah, you would assume so. But I went to one of those like fly-by-night for-profit technical schools that doesn't
okay.
exist anymore. Um, So if I say their name, I can't get sued because they don't exist. But it was just like everybody went there to study. People who wanted to hang out hung out, and I had like my video game group of friends. I had my girlfriend that I dated for 6 years. I wasn't like trying to party at all. I was just trying to study. I was working full time and working or going studying full time. So there's no time to party. In 5 years, I went to 2 parties.
Wow. Okay.
And that was it. That was it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you made up for all of that when you moved to Japan. So
Oh yeah.
did you get in? You said you did some DJing. Did you get into DJing while you were in Nagoya?
Yep. I'll never forget that day.
Okay.
So one of my friends, Ryan, one of
Hmm.
the only like Californians I really like know, and to this day in Japan, like Tokyo, I don't have too many friends from California. He wanted to buy some DJ equipment, but he can't speak Japanese, and he wanted to buy it with a credit card. And there's like some special way he wanted to pay for it, part cash, part credit card. This was like a year into it, and I had a bit of confidence to like face to face handle it.
Yeah.
So at the time with the Eon contract, if you didn't have a class, you didn't have to be at your school.
Wow. Okay.
So, and I was at one of the least busy schools in Nagoya. There's days where I'd be in my office for an hour, and I was getting paid the same as I got paid when that contract changed. So we went like two subway stations away, helped him buy his DJ equipment, and he's like, "Yo, this weekend we're having a home party at my place." He lives in Kasagai, just a couple stations away from where I lived, and he has this huge apartment that was like huge of like lore, which was great. So we go there, we buy the equipment. He has no issue. I have like a lesson, so I can't help him get it home. He had to carry all the stuff home by himself, which was a lot. And that weekend we had a home party, and I had a lot of music because I love electronic music, but I've never like burnt a CD for DJing. So I spent like what? Because Eon's Tuesday or Saturday, so I spent like Thursday, Friday, just organizing all my music, getting it all together on a CD, and then Saturday night was the night of the party. So we go there, and it's just like literally 20 girls and like 4 guys
Hey, those are good
in his
odds, right?
apartment. It was absolutely great.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, it was our Australian friend Shane,
Yep.
and he's been DJing for quite a bit because he'd been in Japan for a bit before, but he was DJing in Australia, and Ryan and I. So we've got the turntable set up, we got the speakers. We're pretty much like fuck the neighbors. We were being a bit loud, but there was zero complaints that night. We were drinking a large amount of alcohol to the point where I was vomiting in his bathroom,
Oh man.
and the girl that I was most interested in was helping me the whole night, and that led to uh, some adventures after that. Not that night, but
Yeah.
that was like holy shit! Like I want to DJ. That was fun. What I remembered of it. So I got into that, and then us three just became a crew. We had like our own DJ crew called the Undercats, like
Okay.
Thundercats, the Undercats,
Hmm.
and we're the underdogs, but the Undercats. And at the time, it was cool. So um, you're at Hub, which is like a chain British pub all over Japan, and we saw this Australian guide. I was like, "Hey, I'm about to open up this club, and I see you guys have all your DJ equipment, and we were about to DJ that night." And he was like, "If you guys DJ at our place, the first event, I won't pay you, but all the alcohol for you and your friends is all free." So that was a very, very crazy night. But that led to DJing at other places throughout Nagoya as my DJ skills went up. Because I was like, remember, first time DJing was super drunk off my ass at that home party. As my DJ skills went up, I was DJing at other places. I joined some all Japanese, like the biggest DJ crew in Nagoya called Tiny. I ended up joining their like more underground group called Damien, and I think we only did like 2 events before I moved to Tokyo.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I DJ'd a lot in Tokyo, but I kind of stopped last year. It was like the last time I DJ'd.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember a few years ago I went to one of your sets.
Mm,
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. It was good. But
appreciate it.
yeah,
Cheers.
and I was curious as to why you stopped. But I there might be several reasons for that, or
Oh, I'll definitely put it out there. It's
yeah,
something that I've never really shared. Nobody really knows, but
yeah,
there's a monthly event that happens here in Tokyo. I think I won't say their name, um, but I'm actually cool with the people involved.
Yeah.
But they had a DJ contest, and then I entered it, and I won. And I got the DJ, and it was pretty cool. It was, we were in Akihabara, under the bridge. It was a really, really fun night. So they asked me to DJ again at this event in Yokohama. So actually my friend Shane, the Australian guy who was part of my DJ crew, was in Tokyo that day. I had one of my friends, Jun, from Korea. He was visiting Tokyo at the time, and then my ex-girlfriend. We all went down to Yokohama together, and we went to the event. And it was super crowded, super dope event. And as I'm DJing, not DJing, I'm sorry. It's like 2 hours before I DJ. And this boat, it's like right next to the water. It's Yokohama and Sakaragicho. This boat starts coming up, this massive boat, and then they're like, yo, everybody who bought your tickets, get on the boat. We have like a party. The two creators of the event are going to be DJing, and it's like, who was it? I want to say Bacardi. Maybe Bacardi was the like sponsor. So there's like all these different types of Bacardi drink, and literally like 98% of the people that were at the party got on a boat, and then I'm like going up in 20 minutes.
Oh man!
So I literally DJ'd to my friend Shane, my friend June, my ex-girlfriend, the DJ after me, and her friends, and the random families that just happened to be in the area.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bought music, I practiced, I dedicated time to get ready for this event, and it was literally to like, we could have just did this in my fucking apartment.
Yeah, yeah.
So that moment was like, I'm done. I'm done DJing. I'm not really. If I had a bigger name, I'd probably get other events or whatever. If I kept DJing as more, if I like poured myself out, like I feel like a lot of DJs do to get where they want to be, and they are where they want to be. But I'm like over it. I don't want to say I'm too old for it. I'm never going to say that. But
no, never say that. I went to a Halloween party a few years ago, in near Harajuku, I think, and there was a 75-year-old Japanese DJ there. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're never too old.
Age doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Age doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
I might get back into it, but like to what extent I'm not sure, because I mean I love DJing. Like, actually, when I say that event was the last one, no, my company asked me to DJ the year-end party.
Okay.
In December of last year, so I did DJ one more time after that, which was bizarre. It was weird.
Yeah.
To begin with, the setting didn't match, but as the alcohol was consumed, it got really fun.
Yeah.
But that was literally the last time at that event where everybody got on the boat. Was like the last time I properly DJ'd.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I'll be DJing my mom's wedding in 3 weeks, so actually I'm not done yet.
Okay. Well, hey.
I forgot about that.
Congrats to your mom then. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a bit weird, but I'm used to it now. Like I've let it sink in, and
so you'll be heading back to California then in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
In 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. And
So
now your job, I guess, now gives you flexibility with time you can take off. Is that true?
I've got vacation days. I haven't used any of my vacation days. Like
Okay.
I went to Korea in June. It was kind of like a self birthday trip with two of my friends, and I only missed 2 days of work, but I just ended up working like a Monday. Like I'm off Sunday and Monday, so I ended up working like one Monday and one Sunday to make up for it. So I've used like no vacation days at all.
Okay. That's pretty cool though, that you can have a flexible schedule like that.
Oh, it's super flex. Like I don't really have like a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I have like the vice president of the company is literally the person who, like, I don't want to say admin wise, but I guess admin wise I have to deal with, but she's the head of admin for the whole company. She's
Right.
the president's wife.
Yeah.
So when I tell her like, hey, I'm going to go to Korea, she's just like, you don't have to tell me, just get the work done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So as long as the work's done, and when I told her like my best friend's coming, I'm going to be off the whole time he's here, she's like, as long as the work is done. I'm going to California for 10 days. She's like, as long as the work is done.
Yeah.
So it's super flexible. The company is Japanese, and there are very Japanese aspects of it.
Yeah.
But they're both very American. Like they're Japanese, but my president used to be a Yale professor. His wife, who's the vice president, was the librarian at Yale, and that's how they met in America. And they're just very American. There's very few things Japanese about my company. So
yeah, I've found that with a lot of Japanese who've lived abroad, is at least the ones that I've encountered, they'll bring back a lot of positive aspects of Western culture or whatever culture that they're from, and they'll incorporate it
Right.
into whatever they do back here, and it's
Exactly.
an interesting mix. Yeah, yeah. So now you stopped DJing like full time. You know,
Yeah.
you do it occasionally here or there.
Right. Right.
There's also issues with like promoters in Tokyo, right? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not naming names, obviously, but
Wait a minute.
yeah,
Don't we know? Don't
I
we have a?
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Don't
we have a mutual
I forgot
acquaintance.
about
Yeah,
that. He fucking pissed me off. Oh
yeah,
my god. I'm
yeah,
not gonna. Okay, yeah. I totally forgot about that. I think
yeah,
you introduced me to him.
yeah. Well, sorry for that then.
No, 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 no. It's cool. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool. But he rode my coattails for a bit
Hmm.
to get quite a few. He got to skip the line. Let me say that through some connections that I
Connections.
gave him.
Yeah,
Connections. Let's do that. Let's
yeah.
say that. So through a few of my connections, I let him skip quite a few lines, and I think I don't even know what he's doing now. I'm pretty sure he's doing the same thing, and I'm quite ruthless. Like I don't. If I have a problem with somebody, I just get silent. I don't talk about our problems.
Yeah.
They can realize, oh wait, Tommy's no longer on my Facebook or Line or Instagram, and there's a reason. If they
Hmm.
think about what happened before that, I don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
So I blocked him on everything, and then I ended up seeing him at a party.
Hmm.
He's like, "Yo, dude, let me buy you a drink," and I was like, "No, I'm cool. I'm not really drinking today." But I was drunk off my ass, and he
Yeah.
can see it. But I was just trying to avoid anything awkward. But
Right.
yeah, promoters.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing. I'm not really into that scene, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
people from what I've heard from you and other people, like, oh well, I can't pay you, but you can get exposure or something like that. Which
Dude. Dude.
how
So
much? Yeah, how that for any artist really is like how much does exposure? I mean, exposure is great, but it doesn't put food in your mouth. You know.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, so I started DJing less than a year after I moved to Japan. So that means it's been like 11 years since I've been DJing.
Right.
In 11 years, I was paid once to DJ.
Just once.
Once, and
Yeah.
that's because my friends in Nagoya paid for me my Shinkansen to and from Nagoya and back,
Hmm.
and I got like an extra like 10,000 yen on top of that. So they paid for the Shinkansen. They paid me 10,000 yen. The only time in my life I've ever been paid to DJ.
Yeah.
So lots of promises, or lots of just you're expected to not get paid, or you have to get this many people, and there's like this buffer, how
Hmm.
many people you've got to get in, and if you get above that, it's this much. If you get above the next number, it's this much.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of friends to go, but I think like that first place I was DJing at for the Australian dude kind of maybe burnt some people out.
Okay.
We went a little bit too hard, and I think people were like, "Oh shit, we don't party that hard."
Yeah.
And they like the people who party hard back home, like Japan wasn't where they started partying.
Yeah.
They would go out all the fucking time, but I mean the numbers just weren't there for me to ever get paid.
Yeah, that's useful information. You know, I wasn't aware that there were like tiers that you had to pass through certain tiers in order to get any sort of pay. That's seems like kind of
That
a bullshit scheme right there. You
right,
know what I mean?
right, no, right. I don't know if that was just like a Nagoya thing. I know when I first came to Tokyo, money wasn't even ever mentioned, so
Yeah.
I was just like, "Fuck it, I get to DJ in Tokyo. That's kind of cool." But in Nagoya, that seemed to have been like the writer, like you have to have a certain amount of people to get your guarantee, as they say.
Yeah.
But I never got paid shit.
Yeah.
I just love music, and I love like in my head like planning how my set's gonna work out. I used to like write down every fucking thing. I'm gonna play this song first, and at this minute I'm gonna mix out, and then like I'm at the point now where I don't even have to plan. I just have. Well, I had CDs until the big earthquake, and then
Mhm.
after that, just have. Actually, it's right here. Like all my music's just on a USB drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird being a DJ if you care about money or putting food on your plate, like you said.
Yeah.
It's not a thing you do. You've got to love the music to do it. But I
So
mean, I have a lot of DJ friends who are like making fucking money, and they're going to other fucking countries and shit
yeah.
to DJ. And they're fucking English teachers that are producers and DJs here in Tokyo, but they just really go hard, and they've passed that
Threshold.
level. Yeah, there you go, threshold to like get to where they want to be.
Yeah. I guess it's just something that you just have to dedicate all of your free time to promotion mostly? Because I
Right.
mean, obviously it's a skill to put the music
Make
together and then
money,
mix it. Yeah, but
make tracks.
then
I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, but then you have to be a businessman on top of that and like push it and promote it, and so it's there's a lot involved in that.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I'm a people person to the point where I'm just like, holy shit, like people are gonna have fun if I DJ, and then I'm like, okay, job's done.
right.
Then I think about after the fact, oh shit, I should have been a business person and not a people person.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I never ever get on that right. Like recently, the last like 4 months, I've been on that lane about like money first, and then like people come at the same time.
yeah.
But back then, I was too young, too naive. All I cared about was just getting a chance to DJ, and exposure meant something to me back then.
Well, I
Until
mean,
I was burnt 100% of the time.
yeah. Well,
Burnt, not burnt, not burnt. They got what they wanted, and I just didn't know better.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, exposure's good if you're starting out, but after a while,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I kind of need some bank to come into,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right, right, right,
Yeah,
right, right, right,
yeah.
right. It's kind of like, I mean, not to jump the gun, but
Mm,
like, I used to shoot a lot of like portraits. I used to shoot a lot of weddings, and people would pay me nothing or change. And 3 months ago, I was like, fuck it, I'm not doing any free work ever.
mm.
And I said no, and I lost all my cheap clients. And then a lot of paying clients came, and they would pay me way exactly what I said. And then I was like, shit, I should charge more. So I would like double what I charged the last person, and they're like, oh, that's it. And I'm like, fuck. So then I would triple it from that first one, and they keep paying, and I'm like,
You gotta just keep on,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm onto something. I'm onto
Yeah.
something. I need to actually like charge people because I think it puts this value to something.
Mm,
So with DJing, I didn't see the value in me playing music, other people's music for an hour.
right.
So I never felt comfortable charging for it. Whereas now with me being there, giving my time, no insurance on my camera and my equipment, I've got to shoot, I've got to edit. I think there's a value behind that, and then
Oh, yeah.
that's where I finally found my niche.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's good. So you do photography as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, um, I've seen your Instagram, and man, like you got some you definitely have skill in that regard. I'll give you that. Um,
Appreciate it, man.
yeah,
Appreciate
I
it.
mean, I have some friends back home in Texas.
Mm.
They're a married couple, and they started their own photography business, but they shoot weddings only, I believe.
Okay.
Like engagements and weddings and families and stuff. So that's their
Great money.
yeah, yeah. That's their
Great money.
they their business is really successful, and
Right,
but
right.
they're good at it. So if you're really good at a skill, yeah, you have to monetize that, and
Exactly,
it seems like
exactly.
you're doing the right thing. Just keep
Finally.
asking keep asking for
Finally.
more until someone goes like that, and then you're like, okay, I
I,
think I've hit the but
I've never hit it in the last 3 months, man. Like well, okay. I recently did like a drone shoot, and I told them what I would get based off of like this Google
hmm
rudimentary Google search of what I should make for what type of shoot I was doing, and what I quoted them, they paid me like $500 less than that,
okay,
but it was more than I would have got had I been sitting here on my ass playing video games.
yeah, yeah,
And it was a fun shoot. I got to meet some creative people. It was fun, connections. They like my work. They like working with me. It's going to lead to more work when they've got clients that pay more money because they don't know anybody else who shoots with a drone, who's
yeah,
bilingual.
yeah. So drones in Japan, that's kind of a interesting issue, is it not?
It was, and I was a bit surprised doing my research because one of the shots they wanted was a very not super legal shot,
Okay.
and not illegal to the fact that like you would go like, yo, I should be thrown in jail for this, but it was just there's a Japanese law that's super strict, and I shouldn't do it, but they wanted me to fly over a basketball court in Yoyogi Park. And in Japan, you can't fly drones over any park in the whole country. Doesn't matter what park it is. Doesn't matter where you're at. So I was willing to do it if we can kind of see there's nobody around, if the client was okay with it and they were okay with it.
Yeah.
But when we were on our way to Yoyogi Park, the person we were supposed to shoot canceled, so that didn't happen.
Yeah. This is all allegedly, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I didn't do it, so there's no.
Oh yeah.
I,
Okay.
I would never do it the next time either.
Of
So
of course not, right?
who would do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I live like just next to a big park in town, and every park here has, you know, the sign, no drones, no
Right.
no motorized whatever, you know. So um,
Right.
and I don't know if you heard about this issue. Some dude got in trouble. Some YouTuber got in trouble for putting like a GoPro on a sushi conveyor
Yeah,
thing.
that shit's stupid, dude.
Yeah.
That shit's stupid. But you know
Yeah.
why it's stupid? He's the third person to fucking do it.
Yeah.
The first person who did it went viral. The second person who did it was cool. The
Hmm.
third guy who did it got fucking busted. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, I think the most recent one that went viral, he actually got in trouble for it, and it got taken down off of YouTube. So, um,
Which
but
I
it's
don't know.
like,
I mean, I
well,
wouldn't do that. No lie, I would never do that.
yeah.
Just I think I have a sense of like boundaries. I know what I should and
Well,
probably shouldn't do.
you're messing with people's food, you know. I mean, there's
Yeah.
sanitary issues behind that, you know.
Right,
But
right, 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 right,
now,
right.
now the drone thing that came about because didn't somebody land a drone on the emperor's house or something like that? Yeah.
So what they did, they had a drone that had um, toxic waste, I want to say, on Shinzo Abe, who's the Prime Minister of Japan's, one of his offices,
Okay.
and that caused like a big buzz because Japan is pretty much, if we don't know about it, the answer is no
Right. Yeah.
until things get big, and you know that. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Shinzo Abe, who was a target of this attack, I'm putting up quote fingers. You can't see that in the audio, but who's a target of this attack? He's now a very big proponent for drones. Like he's making things more lenient. He's slowly making it more okay to use drones,
Right.
and he's
Okay.
trying to put more money and not money, but he wants more Japanese companies to like develop drones because right now China like dominates with DJI. DJI is one of the biggest and best like drone makers. My drone is a DJI.
Right.
But he wants there to be like more rules as long as there's safety and regulation, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But that initial shock scared the shit out of everybody. And I don't know if you heard of what happened last Halloween. The guy who had the drone that had candy in it. Did you hear about that?
No. No.
Oh,
What
this
happened
was
with this? Yeah.
stupid as shit. He created this like mechanism that he put on his drone where he presses a button and it drops candy over a bunch of kids
Yeah.
in a park.
Yeah. That can't go wrong at all, can it? So.
Kids drones, okay?
Yeah.
And like the candy like came out the mechanism when it made the lever go up. The lever, why is that lever? The lever go up. It hit the propeller and then like the drone just crashed into the ground.
Oh shit.
Nobody got hurt,
Okay.
but there's video of this because it was Halloween and a bunch of kids were just like looking up at this drone dropping candy on them, and of course the parents were shooting video of it, and it crashed. But there was really no fallout from that, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
That guy is an idiot, not drones. That guy's an idiot.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny that it's like they blame the drones for the issue and not the person doing it. You know.
Right.
It's like the
The
place.
gun
where-
issue in America.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That's
The
that's
cut
an
in
issue,
line.
right? But it's also like the crackdown here about the minpaku, the like Airbnb type stuff. You know.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Like
Oh, man.
the mansion I live in, they for those unfamiliar, mansion doesn't mean a giant
Right.
rich house. It's
Dude, your
I-
house looks massive, man. You live in a mansion. That's dope.
yeah, well, I mean, for where I live, it's actually quite nice. I got a pretty good deal where I'm at. But the building I live in, it's all like each room is privately owned by people, right?
Okay.
So
Oh, shit.
yeah, but the management this past June put up a little sign that said there are no. It's absolutely forbidden to do Airbnb type shit in this place according to this regulation, and yeah, so
Yeah.
it's I mean that to me, I don't really see an issue with there's a guy upstairs that runs a business out of his, you know, so and he's only there like once a week anyway.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, why not, you know? But
Right, it's his.
I guess I can understand if you don't know who's coming into these buildings. And then there was the issue with like some killer, some foreign killer. Did you not hear about that? Where was it?
No.
I don't know. It wasn't in Kanto area. It wasn't. I think it was like central or west Japan.
Oh shit.
Osaka maybe. But anyway, it was this American guy, no, or Russian guy,
Hmm.
American Russian guy. His name was Russian, but I think he's from New York. Anyway,
Okay.
he came he came to Japan and he was staying in one of these Airbnbs and he would lure women to his place, and I think one or two of them he killed. You
Yep.
know, yeah, and
It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar now.
yeah, yeah,
Sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah. Again, stupid people make certain laws and rules go into place where all of us innocent people
yeah.
suffer as a result. But it's weird. Like, without going into too much detail, and this might actually come up later on throughout. But I recently had a friend visit who is one of the initial investors in Airbnb, and Airbnb paid for him to come out to Japan, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like half impressed, half disappointed with Airbnb in Japan. But this is before those rules went into place.
Right.
So I mailed him like, dude, shortly after you left, like Airbnb, or I'm sorry, Japan made this
Mm.
huge thing that kind of fucked you guys over here.
Yeah.
And he was like, yep, I'm glad I went before then. So the
Yeah.
timing was a little bit awkward, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's.
Yeah,
Anyways.
but the same thing with Uber, man. Like Uber is regulated just to Tokyo and like one little small town near Kyoto, and it's not even the same sort of service. You know,
They
it's
recently had their Osaka launch. The only reason I know that, a girl that I matched with on Tinder works for Uber,
okay.
and she went to the Osaka launch, I want to say 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
So they had their big like Osaka. I don't know if it's Kansai, but it was definitely Osaka.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Uber Eats. It was just Uber itself, because Uber Eats is just starting to like really pick up here in Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah. I heard about that. Um,
You guys have it up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I downloaded the apps and nothing comes up. So I tested it out.
Probably.
Yeah. Every time I go back to the States, I end up using Lyft anyway, just because it's
Me
cheaper than
too.
Uber. But and every driver I've had's been really cool. So
Ditto, ditto,
but
ditto.
man, if that were if the regulations and the taxi companies would just chill out here, you know,
Right.
like that would be a great part-time work to do. You know?
Dude. Not only that, but it was just like I'm really big on like, if I'm out drinking with my friends, I'm super anal about getting my last train. Since I've been at this apartment, I moved here on May 1st. I've never had to take a taxi to get to this apartment. I'm super big on like, if I'm not out all night, I want to get home on time. Like, I want to get my last train.
Yeah.
But do I really want to? No. Do I have to? Yes.
Yeah.
If I could just grab an Uber and it didn't cost me a little bit less than a taxi, and taxis in the city are super expensive, I would be using Uber all the time. Like, I can pull up my app and just say, hey, pick my drunk ass up from Shibuya and get me home here.
Right.
I'd be set. Like, but the fact that it's a little bit less than taxis, if they're even available, there's no point in having a service here.
Well, I noticed I have this app called Japan Taxi, and they're implementing a GPS like service like Uber, where you can see the little cars driving around. So I think they're
Okay.
taking the Uber model
Model.
and they're trying to implement it. I don't know how well it works with. I think it's only certain taxis here, but
Okay.
at least up here, I don't know. I'm sure Tokyo has them too, but
Mhm.
more people drive up here. But there's Daiko services are really popular up here. Do you
What's
know?
that?
Basically, Daiko just means like replacement way. So you call this company, and um, the Daiko car comes with two dudes, and one of them is gonna follow you. You get in your car, and one of the guys drives your car for you back to your home.
Ah, so
Yeah,
like if you're too like drunk.
drunk. Right,
I
right.
think they have that in America, if I'm not mistaken. But like, me not driving in Tokyo, I've never like even considered that option. Like, if you drive, you don't drink in
Yeah.
Tokyo. Pretty much that's it.
That I
If you
mean that's how
drink,
it
you
is
don't
all
have a
over
car.
this country. Is like it's like zero tolerance for drinking, driving.
Right, 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 right,
You know.
right, right, right. I mean, of course it happens,
Hmm.
but I mean, like Tokyo, it's super convenient here, dude. Like,
Yeah.
there's a train that goes everywhere. Like, I live 1 minute from my fucking station,
Yeah.
so
You don't need a car. in Tokyo.
No,
You know,
no, you don't. You don't.
if I lived there, I would maybe get like a bike, like a scooter or something, just
Right, right, right,
for
right, right, right,
easy
right, right.
ease. But because before I got my car, that's what I drove around was a little Honda scooter.
You
But
have a car?
yeah, I've been
Holy
driving.
shit.
I've been driving for about 5 years now. Mhm.
No way.
Mhm.
When I was with one of my ex-girlfriends, we had a car. She didn't have a license, but I used my international license, maybe a little bit more than I should have. But we used to do Costco runs every month, and I would drive, and I'm like, here I am driving with this temporary license, and I've never been in an accident. I can follow the rules because it's like if the light's red, you don't go.
Yeah.
The light's blue, you go.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why I can't just transfer my American license
You
to that.
you can. You have at least up here. You have
Mhm.
to go through a lot of red tape
Really?
and bullshit. Actually, from what I've heard, Tokyo is one of the easiest places to convert your license. So,
That's weird because like I have a friend that is bitching every other week
mhm.
on Facebook about like they fucked me over again. I couldn't get my license again. I don't know. It might be him. Shit, it might be.
He
But
could be a bad
that's
driver,
interesting.
but I
Could be, yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a perfect driver. I've only had
Okay.
one accident in my entire life that was my fault.
Oh.
And that was just a few years ago when I was visiting in America.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It was clearly my fault, but other than that, I'm usually a really careful driver.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
Tochigi, where I live, is one of the I think they're the most strict prefecture
Okay.
for getting driver's licenses for both Japanese and foreigners because
Uh,
Tochigi's been known to be the having the worst drivers in Japan.
Dude, so
Yeah,
everybody I talk to says that's Nagoya.
really. I'm
And
sure
I think
every
it's funny.
prefecture. I'm sure every
Says they're the
prefecture.
worst, right?
Yeah. But
But it's funny because like all Americans say like Californians were the worst drivers, and then I lived in Nagoya and they're like, oh, Nagoyans are the worst, or Nagoyans are the worst drivers. I was like, have I ever lived anywhere that has good drivers?
man, like at least a few years ago, they used to on the road signs here. They used to say like there are this many auto accident deaths this year. Let's get this number down to this. You know, so they would
Right,
advertise how
right.
many people were killed in auto accidents
Shit.
every year, and that was part of it. But for me, I'll do I'm gonna actually do a video about my process of going through getting my license here
Oh, okay.
because I didn't have to go the Japanese way, which a lot of people do, but that cost a lot of money.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
my way was I converted my American license, my Texas license, to a Japanese license.
Okay.
And what I to just make it brief, what I had to do was I had to get my license translated at like the JAF, JAF.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had to get it translated there, and
It's
then
like the Japanese AAA. I don't know if anybody
yeah,
listens to this won't know. Yeah, the Japanese AAA.
pretty much that's what it is. I had to get it translated.
Okay.
Then I had to go to the prefectural driving center, which
Okay.
even to renew your license, just a heads up for everyone in Japan, if you think the DMV is bad in America, you have to spend an entire day at a Japanese DMV, pretty much. But anyway, I had to go there and I had to get all this paperwork, and because I was, I guess, the first Texan in Tochigi to get
Shit.
my license, they were like, "Well, we need all this extra paperwork. Can you get it to us?" I said, "Okay, sure." So I did. I had to go above and beyond what is normal and get all this kind of paperwork, and they said,
Shit.
"Can we keep this? Because we don't have any records. So we would like to keep your records as an example." I was like,
No
okay.
way.
And I'm thinking I'm being super cooperative with these guys and giving them
Right.
all this stuff. I'm like, okay, this is gonna give me brownie points with them. It doesn't.
Of course
Like
not.
there was
Of
even
course not.
one time where I had to ride with this guy who was doing he was a Japanese guy. Usually they don't put you with the Japanese drivers because it's
Okay.
different tests. But they put me with this Japanese guy driving, and he was going off course and driving through town. But this was his first time behind the wheel, and he was driving in the wrong lane, going into oncoming traffic, and I'm like,
No.
I'm in the back, like having a heart attack, you know.
No,
And
dude.
and I had to do my driving test right after that. And I
You
look at
passed.
no, they failed me,
Oh, fuck.
and I was like, "Are you shitting me, dude?" You know,
After
the
this guy.
yeah, the one day, I think the day that I passed, there was actually ice on the track. So I was like,
No
if I'm not gonna
way.
pass after this, fuck you, you know. but
Right, 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 right,
but
right, right.
but there was a guy who I'd seen him there a lot with, like, he, I guess a company hires him to help their workers pass the tests, like truck drivers or something. And
Okay.
I guess all the workers were either from Pakistan or like Brazil or Philippines or like um, for because believe it or not, there are some countries that Japan is biased towards if you're trying to get a driver's license here.
Oh,
America is one of them because
really?
each state has different laws,
Mm, 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 mm,
right?
mm, mm, mm.
If you're Canadian, even though they drive on the same side of the road as Americans do, they have all the same standardized laws in Canada, so they get a pass. All they have to do is translate their license, and boom, you're done. You don't even have to take a driving or written test.
Fuck that.
Yeah, but anyway,
Sorry to all my Canadian friends, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that sucks.
But it took me several times, and one time they failed me because I looked too many times at the they call it Midoshi Warui, which is like a T stop where it's a wall and you have to like inch forward and kind of stretch your neck and look. They said you're supposed to look 3 times and you looked 4 times, and that shows that you're not confident enough. I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's just an excuse. But but anyway, the guy that eventually I kept seeing him there, apparently he used to
Hmm.
work there and he retired and got this other job. And before my test, my
Hmm.
last test, he was looking at me and he goes, "Congratulations." And I said, "What? I haven't. How do you know? I haven't even passed my test. I haven't even taken my test." And he goes, "Congratulations." And then sure enough, I was one of only 2 or 3 people who passed that day. And he said, "What'd I tell you?" And then
Holy shit.
usually they give these, like, have you seen those green and yellow magnets on cars
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
signifies
yeah, yeah, yeah.
beginner, right? He's like, you
Right.
don't. He's like, I know you've been driving for 11 years before you even come here. Like, you don't even
Right.
need this. It's like you're good. And I'm like, then why the hell did you guys fail me so many times?
Right, right,
It's
right,
to get
right.
the
Why
money.
today?
Yeah, it's to get the money. And but
Of
luckily,
course, of
it's
course, of course.
mine was cheap. I mean, I still took the test several times, but it was only like 2,200 yen per test.
That's
So
fucking cheap, dude.
yeah,
I
yeah.
expected way more.
Japanese people have to go through like 1,000 question test, and like they have to pay like $2,000 or $3,000 worth. I
So I've
mean,
heard.
yeah, it's
And that's why I don't have one, dude. Because
no,
I would love to rent a car so I can go to Costco or like
yeah,
IKEA. Like there's car rental places all around me,
the
but
track,
I don't
whatever.
have a
Yeah,
license.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, man. I,
yeah,
I
dude.
would I would suggest that you at least try the method that I did. I hear it's
Okay.
actually easier for Tokyo people. Like, I've heard
Fuck.
Americans getting it on their second try, first or second try.
No
So,
way.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna give it a try. I need to get that info from you because
Yeah,
I would benefit highly having a license, like I
yeah.
said, for those Costco runs.
Yeah, man. It was 5 years ago, so I actually have to remember what all I did, but it was
Fuck.
yeah,
No, it's good. It's good. I'm a
yeah, yeah,
patient guy.
yeah, yeah. But it's worth
Yeah.
it, especially like here. What's really cool is
Sorry.
that's right. Japan has these car rental places where you don't you just like walk up to the car in the parking lot and you dial a number, and like through some GPS satellite thing it unlocks the car and you can just get in and drive. And
There's
then when
one up the street from me.
yeah, and then
It's right up the street from me, dude.
when you're done you just park it at either that parking space or another one close
Anywhere.
by,
Yeah.
and then it charges like your credit card or whatever is attached to your phone, or if it's attached to your phone, it'll charge you on your phone bill.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm
Uh.
like, man, that's so convenient. If you're out of town or
Yeah.
something, you don't have to go to like what is a car rental place, Enterprise or something like in
Right. Right.
America,
Right. 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 Right.
So
I forgot like that Japanese one. Like I know the logo is like yellow and black. I can't remember. It's like a pretty
fast
well
track
known.
or racetrack or something. Yeah,
Is that it? I can't. Maybe
track
it's different.
track 20. That's what's up here, but
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. It's this really well-known company that started that service in particular. But
Hmm.
yeah, I've seen it, and I've had friends, and I've been with them when we use it to like drive down to the beach, and we drop it down in Yokohama, and then we just take the train back up to Tokyo, or
Yeah, yeah.
because we're too drunk or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to.
So definitely don't want to do that as foreigners because we're going to
Hmm.
set the tone.
Yeah, yeah.
I want that.
But yeah, like living up here,
Hmm.
like especially my job right now, I have to do pickups and stuff, so I kind of,
Okay.
yeah, I kind of actually need a car to drive
Okay.
around. So it's not bad though. It gives you so much freedom. Like, oh,
Dude,
I want to go to the mountains, or I want to go to Costco, or like you said, I want to do this. Okay, I
dude.
can just hop in my car and go. So
Driving's my therapy, and it's one of the biggest things I miss about like not being back home in California. Like as much as our traffic sucks in California, I love being in a car. Like few albums you just listen to with the windows down. I don't get that here. I'm on a train with a bunch
yeah,
of people, and on all like I have to take the Yamanote line to get to work every day, and it's one of the busiest lines in Tokyo. So
yeah, yeah.
I miss being in a car by myself, just blasting music.
Yeah, man, it's great. Like I finally got Apple Music a few months ago, and I just download a
Yeah,
bunch of stuff and just I hook it straight at I need actually the default speakers in my car are actually not bad, but I'm gonna
it's good.
try and pimp out my speakers, just to get
Shit,
some
dude.
some nice sound, good bass. Yeah,
You have to. We're American. That's what we do.
yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, that you're pretty happy-go-lucky, upbeat guy.
I'd say so.
Just
I'd say
that's
so.
the vibe you give off.
No,
And
I'd say so.
but what have you found to be like the most challenging thing of living in Japan?
Oh,
Yeah.
the dishonesty of Japanese people.
Okay. Expand on that. I'm interested to hear about that.
So here's a big thing. Like, let me rewind that a little bit. So if it wasn't heard, I said the dishonesty of Japanese people.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go a little bit, maybe to the side of it, if you haven't lived in Japan, you've only really heard of the stereotypes of Japanese people are hardworking and they're very kind and they're very polite. But a lot of that is face value. It's like if you talk to company staff, they're going to be absolutely polite to you because that's their job. They're paid for that. It's their culture to always be like a service culture, right? You can get the same thing almost anywhere in Asia, but Japan gets all the credit for it. But when you actually like live here, um, employers, friends, uh, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wives, honesty is one of these things that's very fluid. It works to the person that's being the least honest. And it's been a very common theme with just me witnessing my friends' issues, my personal issues, whether it's work or relationships, or friends' relationships or work. And it's just a very common thing to the point where I've built up this really semi needed wall when it comes to a lot of situations. But I've become a little bit more cynical just because of all of the lack of honesty or the lack of sharing
Hmm.
very important information like, oh, thanks for telling me 8 months later that you have a kid. Personal experience.
Wow, really?
Thanks for
Yeah.
telling me 3 weeks later that you have a husband and a boyfriend, but you're at my apartment.
So
Um,
you're like the side person or something?
the
That's
side guy.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
oh
Don't love my
man.
husband, but I like my boyfriend. My boyfriend doesn't have enough time, but you're free tonight. And I find that out eventually. So been there,
The
done
thing
that.
about
But it's
the kid though, 8 months? Is that what you said? 8 months? That's
yeah,
nuts, dude. How can someone
yeah.
not share that information for 8 months?
Oh, that was a long story. It was I met
Yeah,
her on a dating site, and I said
yeah,
like I don't want to date single mothers. I was like 28, 29,
yeah.
but she was easily no lie to this day. She's the best girlfriend I've ever had, and she's also the most attractive girlfriend I've
I think
ever had and will ever have.
I think I
So I gave
remember
her.
seeing her.
You
Yeah,
maybe remember her. She was
yeah,
really tall, half Korean, half
yeah.
Japanese.
She was like
Like
a 10 almost.
I'd
She
give
looked
her.
she
I'd give her look wise that personality
yeah,
wise, she
yeah.
was like a 9 out of 10. She was
Wow, man.
super confident, super fun. Lived in New York for a long time.
Yeah.
She was like one of the first, if not the first, Hooters girl in this country. But I was too selfish. I couldn't juggle the daughter who idolized me
Hmm.
and her. And then if I could do it all over, I would have never ended it. But I was just too
Yeah.
naive. But anyways, like that whole thing, like if she told me up front, we probably would have never dated, and I would have been able to experience what it'd be like to date her.
That's true.
But
But still,
that
the
didn't.
honesty,
That's
the honesty thing, though, how can you really trust someone who doesn't tell you such a vital component?
I
You
gave
know,
birth to this human being that I'm not going to tell you about.
yeah,
Like for
Yeah.
me, that was a little bit, and it just made me like value honesty and trust. But then it's like, okay, are they being okay? They'll tell you some like really like deep shit, but I always have this like doubt, like, is there more?
Mm.
Because of all, again, it's not just me getting all this like job experience. I have friends whose wives have boyfriends and they find out like the hard way. I have friends whose husbands have, they're sleeping with their coworkers and they find out the hard way. Like it works both ways. It's not an all guy thing, an all girl thing.
Mm.
But I've noticed that people, the concept of love here is very different from maybe us Westerners.
Yeah.
I think we have a very romantic idea of what love in a relationship should be, whereas in Japan, love in a relationship is a duty.
Yeah. I've heard from friends that infidelity is quite. It's a lot more common than people think here, but the divorce rate
It's
is much lower here. I mean,
it's low
yeah.
because they stay together. The wives can't do anything. They're housewives. They
I've
can't support themselves.
yeah, I've heard from just from friends. They say that like the woman will say, if my husband has a girlfriend on the side, as long as I don't know about it and he's happy and he doesn't come home complaining, then I don't care.
Right, right.
But if I found out about it, yeah, I'll be pissed. I'm like, yeah, but
Which doesn't make any fucking sense, right?
no, it's
Right.
like it's
Hold
still
on one second. I
okay.
want to turn off. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. My air conditioner got too cold. Sorry about that. I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, I've been running mine a lot recently too. It's been a hot summer this year. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's I keep it on a timer for like 2 hours when I go to sleep. But like last night I forgot it, so my air conditioner was on from 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. and I
Oh man.
absolutely
Yeah,
it happens. But
yeah.
but
But
yeah, dude, that's like just this is a big thing. Like, of course, I'm not like a perfect person. I do get that. Um, but I have to say, I turned 37 this year. If I was in America, I probably would have like a wife and kids.
right.
But seeing what marriage life is here, like I know very few happily married people here,
Hmm.
and honesty and infidelity is almost like the center of every failed. I don't want to say failed because they're still married,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no love, and the kids grow up in this house where the parents despise each other. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
my parents divorced, and I never got to see and don't know why. And I respect and love my mom and dad because they decided to end that. But they're like, oh, let's stay together for the kids. I'm like, I kind of think you're staying together for the wife who gave up the work life to be a mom
Mm-hmm.
and cannot really find a job because of this huge sexism of Japan
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
her own desire to not even want to work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they stay for that because the husband's going to pay, because also the whole honor thing, because if we say that we're getting a divorce, mom and dad are like, oh my god, my
Mm-hmm.
son daughter is a failure. So but the dishonesty thing isn't only relationship based. When it comes to work, when it comes to promising people something that you're going to get this, you're going to get this, and you don't. I had a previous employer promise me a raise and I was going to become a Seishine, which is like a full-time employee,
Mm-hmm.
not a contractual employee. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. So, if you look at Japan on a service level, if you're here on vacation, Japan's great
You're right.
because you don't understand the language, you don't understand the culture, you don't have to deal with it. When you live here and you've got to get a job, when you live here and you want to have a relationship, again, it's not like I never speak in definites. I never say, even if I use the word all or everyone, um, there's a lot of stories I have of the system of work, relationship, friendships failing
Mm-hmm.
compared to I think back home where I felt people are way more upfront.
Yeah.
If I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, I don't like you, and you know it, and you don't have to waste time and invest anything into that.
I think it is a cultural thing. Americans will tell you their opinion, and
Yeah,
many Japanese, not all, of course, but many
of course,
Japanese
never speak indefinite, right?
they keep it to themselves because they don't want to disrupt the wall, the peace of the
Right.
you know.
So,
Yeah, that's what you
right,
hear a lot.
right, and that's
Hmm,
why I don't want to say this is an excuse, but that's is a huge reason why I love drinking in this country because that's when you get like a Japanese person at their most honest.
yeah. Hmm.
When you get them a bit inebriated and they're open and they're fun I have a lot of friends who are super crazy and they don't need alcohol. I get that again, but in this culture where people are quite reserved until they get a few drinks in them, that's when you get them at their most honest, and that's when my major issues with the country are
Mhm.
gone. They're alleviated.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've said this before, no place is perfect.
No way.
Every place, every country, every culture has its good and bad points, so
Pros and cons.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
it's weird. Like when I meet Japanese people who idolize America, I was like, live there, go somewhere besides Hawaii, and you'll see.
It's weird though. And it's not the same for everybody, but all the ones that I've met that have lived in America and back, they always say, "Oh, I want to go back.
Right, right,
I
right, right.
want to live there again," because
Right.
it is a bit more relaxed. The societal
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
pressure
yeah,
is
yeah.
not there. That's one
Right.
negative aspect of Japan is the pressure that Japanese people feel being Japanese. We don't really get that because we're always going to
We're
be
foreigners.
the outsider here, So
Right, right.
yeah,
So I love that. I kind of love
hmm
being on the outside, and that's even, me being back home. I love being on the outside, but you get like I meet people, I do a lot of like online dating, and then you meet girls who are just like hate Japan and blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, two reasons. A, you don't really know what it's like to live abroad versus like being a student abroad or vacationing abroad.
hmm
B, you're a woman in a country that's super sexist.
yeah,
And like it's unfortunate. I wouldn't want to be a Japanese woman in Japan. I've been seen to prove there's no major benefit. If you're a super attractive woman, you get a rich husband and you don't want to work, or if you do, he won't make you work. But I don't really see any there's no support for women, especially women who want to have kids and continue to work here.
yeah.
So like going straight to it, like sexism in this country is ridiculous. So I wouldn't want to be a woman in this country. So I do get them idolizing abroad.
Yeah, yeah,
I do get it.
yeah. That is definitely an issue, and you see it's very casual here too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the casual sexism
Well,
here.
it's
You know.
even quite blatant, in the past, like say, well, there was a period of within 30 days, I had two friends get groped
That happens a
and
lot here. Yeah.
two female friends,
hmm
and it destroyed their sense of safety. And I was like, fuck the guys who went and did that, because you've now changed this woman for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And I really, really like it's every girl I've talked to outside of, which is funny, like my ex-girlfriend and her sister
hmm
has been groped. That's a disgusting like number. Like it's
All,
ridiculous that.
all of my exes here have told me, and just very casually, like the topic was brought up, and I said, "Has that ever happened to you?" They go, "Yeah."
Yep.
I'm like, "Really?" He go, "Yep." And I
Yep.
said, and like they're not okay with it, but they just
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
for them it's just that's what happens if you're a woman,
Right.
you know.
That's bullshit. Like,
Like one of
it,
my exes, she said that she was just sitting on a train, and
mm.
there was this, those trains where the seats kind of face each other a bit, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There was a guy a few rows down, and he had like a bag of chips, and she thought he was just eating this bag of chips, so she didn't think anything of it. But she heard like the chip bag kind of going, like making noise, and she's like, "Man, that dude must be hungry." And she looks
No.
over, and he has like the chip bag over his dick, and he's like jacking. Yeah, and all
No.
she did, she wasn't groped at this point, but
Right. Right. Right.
it
Right.
was
Right.
only
Right. Right.
her and this guy in this entire train card. So she just stands up,
No,
walks out.
dude.
Yeah, she's like, "Mm-mm,
But
not
it's
doing
it's
this."
one of those things like, okay, me not being like a sexual predator, how do you get off to that? Putting your dick in a fucking like potato chips bag, like that's not exciting to anybody. Any normal person, like
Yeah, yeah,
grabbing a girl who doesn't want to be grabbed, that's not exciting. There's no excitement in that. Like I don't
yeah.
fucking get the mentality of the people, and it's rampant here. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Where did we have that many like groping issues in America? We don't have trains in California, so
We, I don't think it's so much groping issues. But then
I mean,
again,
we have full on rape in America. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
not like it doesn't
yeah.
happen here, but I mean,
But
like the
like,
groping in a public place.
yeah. But at the same time, you'll see women walking by themselves here, without really, there's not really a worry that they'll be attacked on the street. When in America, it doesn't matter what town you're in. It could be a small town. Women don't walk alone. You know, like they either have their other girlfriends or a male, their brother, their boyfriend, or somebody to walk them at night. You know, daytime's usually fine, but at nighttime you never see. At least I've never seen a woman walk by herself because it's
back
just
home.
Yeah. So,
Never, dude. And I'm like, I'm a 6'1" like black dude, and I'm like big. Like, I've never had like a Japanese woman look intimidated by me in my 12 years here on a dark street, and like I'm sitting here like holding a can of alcohol, like I could be whatever. And I've had girls walk right next to me, and there's no issue. I've had girls walk towards me, and they don't even take a second look. They're not even like married into their phone. They're just like it's not a threat. Whereas back home, you know, I'll have people lock their doors and blah 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 blah.
Like they'll go across the street and walk a different
right. Like I don't ever feel that like like I'm a threat to anybody here.
Now I get stared at, but that's different than I mean it's just because I'm 6'3", you know. So
okay.
If you're a tall foreigner here, you're gonna get looked at. You know, it doesn't matter. But it's not a case of apprehension or anything. It's just you're a curiosity. Just because you stand out.
You've got green skin and wings. Yeah. It's no different.
Yeah, exactly.
You stand out compared to the norm.
Yeah. So
like in Tokyo, that's one reason. Like for me, Nagoya was like this city of extremes. Like I was either mostly overly loved by unknown people, or I was hated against for being American. Like my skin color didn't matter. It was like for being American. And those are like a few instances where people would come up and like shout at me because of atomic bombs.
Wow.
Nobody
I've
I know.
never had that ever.
In Nagoya, I've had it 2 or 3 times. Whereas in Tokyo, I'm just another foreigner. There's a ton of them here, and I people don't stare at me. I don't get any like unwanted attention unless somebody wants to speak English to me. But in Nagoya, it was like I was stared at. I had people coming up to talk to me because they love America, because they love hip hop, because they hate America. There's all these different things, but there was never just like, there's a human being on a train with me. Yeah. There's a human being walking the street with me. Whereas Tokyo, I just mix into the crowd, which I love. I love being nobody here.
Yeah,
I love it.
How big is Nagoya? What's the population there?
Nagoya is the 3rd largest city if you consider Greater Tokyo, which is like Tokyo, Yokohama, Chiba, and Saitama. That's the Greater Tokyo area with 36 million people, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Nagoya was number 3 behind Osaka.
Okay. Yeah, so, actually, Greater Tokyo extends a little bit up into Tochigi. It's pretty big area.
No way.
So it not in Utsunomiya, but like the southern part of Tochigi Prefecture is considered Greater Tokyo.
Didn't know that. The more you know.
Yeah. But
I live in Tokyo proper. Like I'm in my address is Tokyo City. So and it has been for the last. But I've lived in Tokyo proper the last 4 years, I want to say.
Right.
So, like, when all the numbers come up of just Tokyo itself, it's 19 million, 18 million.
That's crazy, dude.
Greater Tokyo is like the 36 million.
Utsunomiya city proper is, I think it's shrinking. It's now about a little bit less than 500,000 people.
No way.
It's tiny here, man. But the greater...
Dude, I see that many people in Shibuya every day.
Right. The greater Utsunomiya area has like 800, 900,000 people, I think. But but it's funny because you know Nagoya is so big, but in my 10 years of being in Utsunomiya, I've not encountered the anti-American Japanese person. It's
I said like 2 or 3 times for me.
Yeah. It's always just been like they'll stereotype. They're like, "Oh, you like Coca-Cola," you know, like that
baseball
sort of
hamburgers.
Yeah, that sort of bullshit. But it's never been like, or you know, when I moved here, it was right when Obama was being elected, and everyone they would shout, "Yes, we can" at me or something. And I'm like, okay.
You think I didn't get that with my skin color? Come on, dude. I got that shit all the fucking time.
Like, do you still get called Bobby here?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. And you'll see it on my Facebook. And every time it fucking happens, I announce it because I hate that shit. God, that's why I fucking left. That is 95% why I left Nagoya.
That must be annoying, dude, because...
Does
Uh,
have you talked about Bobby on your podcast yet?
no, no, I haven't. If
So
for those unfamiliar, please explain who this Bobby character is.
so Bobby is he's Nigerian, right?
I think so, or he
So
was.
he's
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 Japanese now,
he's
I think.
Japanese.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if you follow that
yeah.
train of thought. He's a Nigerian, what you would call like a K1 fighter. So he fights like mixed martial arts and or X. And he became a talent. So he's pretty much famous for being famous. He's a Japanese Kim Kardashian without having sex with anybody. And he's a black guy on TV.
Hmm.
So I'm a black guy not on TV. I'm also much taller than Bobby, and I'm not as dark as Bobby because throughout my family there's been mixing, so I'm not super dark like he is.
Right.
But I get called Bobby because they don't know any other black person. And I take it as offensive because I think the dude is not attractive. I do think I am more attractive than Bobby is.
Right.
But I get called Bobby all the fucking time when I lived in Nagoya.
Yeah.
In the Kanto area, and since I've lived here, it happens rarely.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Wow, I was gonna pull a Trump. I was gonna say it doesn't not happen.
Yeah.
It does. It does happen, and it's quite frustrating. But I'm all about like ignorant and like teach you if it's ever good. But I always get called Bobby when I'm like drunk and I'm not in a good mood.
Oh, dude.
And that shit happens out of the blue. But I've never gone off on anybody.
Man, I don't know if I'd have the same patience as you if that happened to me, man. I mean,
For me, today I have too much to lose.
yeah, yeah.
I have too
You know,
much to lose.
if the longer you're here, the more you accumulate in terms of not just stuff, but just, I mean, your life is here, you know. So you can't risk going off like that, you know.
25-year-old me when I came here, I would do something I regret.
Yeah,
To somebody who would go off if I understood the whole intention of what they're saying or just the reasoning. I was a way more like hot-headed, but
yeah,
at my age and the amount I've been here, I'm just like, you literally have never seen a black person in your life. Like if I think about it, like the amount of people who I am the first black person they will see in their life is stunning. Like in
yeah.
person, off of TV, like it's 99.9% Japanese people in the country, and I'm like in my company the only black person, the only 100% black person in my company.
Hmm.
That's not true. I'm sorry. We have quite a bit few Jamaicans. I'm the only full time. So if I think about it, like the students that are at my company have never seen, a black person. So I stand out and I get it. I understand like ignorance versus racism. I've never experienced racism
Right.
from a Japanese person.
Yeah.
From British people, that's a whole other story. And Americans. But I've never experienced it from Japanese people, and I just think it's the lack of
Exposure.
exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Lack of exposure.
and that's it.
That's why they can get away with doing like blackface on TV here. You know,
Dude.
like I can't imagine like
It's
that's shocking, but it doesn't come
it
from a
is,
place
it
of
is.
hate here though.
Oh, not at all,
That's
not
the
at
thing,
all,
you
not at
know.
all. It's admiration, but be
It's
educated and just don't do it anymore,
exactly. It's like
right?
just because you didn't mean ill will doesn't make it all right. Still, you know. So,
Right.
but
You
they just
get
don't have the culture behind it, you know, of that America
exactly,
does. You know.
Of course. And like
Yeah.
I don't growing up not in like in a very like liberal state,
Hmm.
I don't really have that much of a sensitivity. I grew up in a predominantly like, white and Hispanic neighborhood, so I don't have like this like sensitivity to it. But like my parents are both from the South,
Right.
so but them living in California for a long time, like I don't have that huge like oh my God, don't say this, don't do this, don't do this. But then I have friends who are, so it's not all about me. It's about the general consensus. Like
Yeah.
if it makes any group of people uncomfortable, like don't. Like I'm a huge supporter of like Koreans and Japanese people here because I think if there's racism here, it's against Koreans and Chinese.
Yeah.
And like
the sorry to interrupt, but that what
oh
I've
no
seen
problem.
is the most discrimination that Japanese will give is towards other Asians.
Yep.
You know, that's what I've seen anyway.
No, I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. And like you probably know about me. Like I absolutely love Korea. I go to Korea once or twice a year. I've got a shit ton of Korean friends. And like when I hear somebody say something bad about Korea, I'm just like, you need to read a history book and know why they have any animosity towards you, and you hate them for something your parents told you.
Yeah.
and it's like they're no different than me, and I'm not even Asian. Like you got to just open your eyes and know somebody before you hate them. So I'm really like a big proponent of that. Like I guess racial minority here. I mean,
Mm.
you and I are way below Chinese and Koreans here.
Yeah.
Number wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going back to like what you said about the driver's license, there are people who are more accepted here.
Yes.
We are higher up on that pedestal, being
That
American.
that's what I would say. There's not so much discrimination. It's just some non-Japanese countries are given more of a pass than others on certain
Yep,
things. They're, you know,
yep, yep, yep,
so
yep.
yeah, and
You've got
it's
it easy. We've got it easy.
I'm a minority here, but I probably have the best status of a minority
Oh,
here.
dude,
You know, a white American. You know, so that's
dude. I'm from California, and I went to school and went to college on the same street that Disneyland's on.
oh
If you
man,
ask a Japanese person, have you been to America? Yeah, Disneyland. Yep, I was right on the same street. So
yeah,
like, you can't really get much better unless you're from New York.
yeah, exactly.
So I
Well,
get it, dude.
like for me, it's like they
Or
say,
Hawaii,
oh, you're from Texas. They either say George Bush or
right?
Darvish. Well, he's not even on Texas Rangers anymore.
Right, not anymore, right?
Yeah,
Right. He's in California now.
is he? I thought he was on Cubs. Is he on the
I,
Cubs?
really? Okay, I thought he went to the Angels. Or am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Otani. I think it's Otani.
Yes. Otani's an Angel. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I don't even watch baseball, but
Neither do I, but we
because
live
of
here and they
yeah,
go there.
well,
So
because of fucking Darvish, I knew what team he was on. You know, so. But no, I mean, I'll get like the stereotypical stuff, but other Americans think that shit about Texas too. So I'm used to it. You know what I mean? So
right.
like
Maybe an American
yeah,
told them
yeah,
that this is Texas, right?
yeah, and I don't. I mean, I get it doesn't have the same sort of umph to me, but
Right.
you know, like if someone stereotypes me, I'm just like, yeah, I've heard it before. It's not a big deal to me. But I mean,
Exactly.
but you know, I've come. I don't know how it is in Tokyo, but there are establishments here, bars or whatnot, that will say, you know, they've gone away from using
Mm.
this wording. But when I first came here, they would say like no foreigners, or something
Okay.
on the thing. And when I was first looking for my first apartment by myself, not attached to any company,
Mm.
I got turned down so much.
No way.
And the person on the other end said, "Yeah, I don't have a problem renting out to foreigners, but the owner just says no foreigners.
Dude,
They don't want foreigners in their apartment."
dude.
You know, I know where it comes from. I know it, but I'm like, I'm speaking Japanese to you. I've lived here for
Right.
10 years. Like, can't you
Right.
make an exception for this? You know?
Right. I
So,
totally get it, dude.
uh,
Can I get a small break because I have a
sure.
story related to that, but I want like I need to go to the restroom.
Okay. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, but I have a story about what you just said. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Sorry about this.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Yeah. The apartment thing was nuts. I would call so many different apartment places directly, and I would be turned down, and they would tell me straight up to over the phone directly to me, no, we can't rent to you because you're not Japanese. And it's such a foreign concept to hear that sort of thing. um, and I get it. I understand why. They've had issues with foreigners in the past who will come in and they'll party and they'll destroy parts of the apartment, and they'll just up and leave, or they won't pay the rent, or you know, because they're only here for a short amount of time, and you know.
All right. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
no, I was talking about kind of the reason why a lot of places don't rent to foreigners, because they've been burned in the past by flyjin, you know, like gaijin that
Oh
just
yeah.
come in for a short time
Right.
and are gone, you know, and don't they skip out on rent or something like that.
And so here's what I heard. So back to the story that I kind of teased before I went to the restroom.
Yeah.
Again, sorry about that. So I recently moved in May. I broke up with my girlfriend in April, and I wanted to move out of that apartment. My previous apartment that I lived with her was, I could afford it, but why afford it when I can find something cheaper?
Right.
So I wanted to find something relatively that apartment size. It was a big apartment, and where I live now is bigger and $300 cheaper.
Okay. Well,
So one of my
that's a good that's a good incentive
dude,
to
it's
switch.
right. It's like 4 or 5 years older, but I don't care. But the area is amazing. But anyways, one of my friends, he's an American guy who lives here. He's been here quite a bit. He's got his own company. He's
Hmm.
well established. He's got 2 cars, I want to say. He lives in this area, and through his company, he works with one of the real estate companies. And he was like, "Hey, I'm going to introduce some apartments to you." He worked with the real estate agents, and everything was good. We found quite a few places, and one of the places that I really, 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 really loved were like no foreigners, without even looking at me, without even hearing my name, nothing. It was no foreigners.
Hmm.
And he's a guy, he's been here, he's pretty no bullshit. So he was like, yeah, it sucks that they fucking would say that. That's unbelievable. Your money is as green as a Japanese person's. You speak Japanese. You wouldn't cause them any issues. And it reminded me of something that I learned is a big, big reason when they say no foreigners, it's typically to bar Chinese and Koreans,
Hmm.
Southeast Asians, so Vietnamese, Thai, and the biggest thing that fits a lot of people are people who don't speak Japanese.
Okay.
Because in that random chance there's an issue,
Right.
like there's a fire or there's a complaint, they can't communicate.
Yeah.
Because people don't speak so much English here, even if it's Tokyo.
Hmm.
I'm hosting a barbecue on Sunday, and like 98% of the people cannot speak a word of English. So Tokyo doesn't automatically equal speaks English. So
Right.
you've got a lot of employers, you've got a lot of real estate agents and owners of apartments that can't speak English. The owner of my building here is dude's got to be like 87. He's got to be right below 90. Dude
Yeah.
cannot speak a word of English. But when I went to go sign, it intimidated me because I was like, oh shit, here's this old Japanese dude. I'm probably the first foreigner, but my first day here, dude helped me move shit in here.
Yeah.
He taught me how to lock the shutter that we have on my apartment. He's been super nice, and he's like one of the open type of people. But
Yeah.
you get a lot of people that just foreigner automatically goes bad.
Yeah. I've encountered two types of people up here in Utsunomiya, and I'll say the one that I encounter the least. The
Okay.
type of Japanese person I encounter the least are the ones that try and use what stock English that they know, and they just assume that I can't speak Japanese, and they'll always get like the English menu and everything. But 90% of the time, they just assume that I speak Japanese, and it's all Japanese from there. And I'm so appreciative of that because, the other way just feels a little bit, what's the word? Patronizing, right?
Right, patronizing, yeah.
Yeah, and but I'm glad that a lot of the people here, they feel, they can't speak any English, so they're going off the assumption that I speak Japanese, and I find that more
Right.
the longer I'm here. I think maybe it's just the way I carry myself, maybe, or
Could be,
yeah.
could
When I first came here, maybe I just gave off a vibe of like, ooh,
Right, I don't
you know.
speak the language,
But
right?
now, like, I guess I'm just so casual with everything I
Right.
do here that they just automatically assume, okay, this guy speaks Japanese, so they won't even
Right.
bother with the English. It's all Japanese.
That might be
So
a very unique Utsunomiya thing because of
yeah.
Tokyo, and this isn't something that I'm going to take personal, but I mean, if any of your friends before you came to just Japan said, I'm going to Japan," where are they going?
Tokyo.
Right.
Yeah.
So most of the people here are tourists.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they don't speak the language. So a majority of shop owners, a majority of restaurant owners are going to assume that you're a tourist. I don't look Japanese. I don't look like I belong here.
Right.
They're going to assume I'm Japanese unless I built a rapport. I've got quite a few restaurants, bars, electronic shops that know me very well, and
Yeah.
they see me and like I'm like family. But when I first go somewhere, I'm an outsider, and my name, if I pronounce it, Japanese, sounds like a Japanese nickname.
That's true.
And-
Yeah, Tomi, right?
and
Yeah.
Tomi. So
Yeah.
if I say like I'm making reservations and I say Tomi, I get there and they expect a Japanese dude.
Yep.
They're like, no, we don't have a reservation for you. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Actually, funny story.
Yeah.
This exact situation ruined my ex-girlfriend's birthday surprise
Oh, that sucks.
last year.
Yeah.
Our last her birthday together. We went to Alice in Wonderland Cafe,
Mm-hmm.
and I went there and I made reservations for a cake, and everything. And we get there, and the guy's like, "No, sorry, we're full." I'm like, "No, I made a reservation." He's like, "Nope, there's no tummy here." And I was like, "All right, well, can we like wait?" And I was like, "No, it's gonna be too full." I was like, "All right." We were 20 minutes early, so we sat outside, and she was like, "What? We can just go somewhere else." I was like, "No, no, no, I made reservations here, for you." And I didn't tell her that I got her a cake.
Yeah.
And it's like getting down to like, fuck, what do we do? We've been sitting here waiting for this long. And I was like, you know what? It sucks. I didn't want to tell you, but like I made a reservation here because she was like the Queen of Hearts for Halloween.
Right.
So that's the only reason I took her there. It was an easy decision. It was like a month before or a month after Halloween.
Yeah.
And time at a reservation comes up, and we're sitting out there debating what to do. I get a phone call. I get a phone call from the guy who denied me, saying, "Hey, you're not here. Your reservation's for this time. When are you going to show up?" And I recognize the voice because it's the guy that just said there's no reservation for Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk right up to the register, show him my phone. He's like, "It's you." And I was like, "I fucking told you that."
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was like ready to just like leave. She's like, "Fuck this place if they're going to treat you like this." And I was like, "No. I already ruined the surprise. I told you that I got you a cake and all of this stuff registered. I got us a course and all of this and like a bottle of wine. Let's just do it. And
Yeah.
let's never come here again. If you guys never go to the Alice in Wonderland Cafe under Hulk in West Shinjuku, because they're not going to treat you. They're going to ruin your girlfriend's birthday. So
Oh,
your
man,
ex-girlfriend's birthday."
well, that sucks, dude. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've I've um I've had a positive experience over the phone. Like
Okay.
that. Yeah, like I would. It's actually someone that I knew, too.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, it was. But in person, we usually always communicate in English. But
Okay.
I guess I didn't have their phone number saved, and so I get a call and I answer, mosh mosh, and I'm speaking all Japanese to him, and then
Okay.
after like 5 minutes, I go, "Is this Shea?" I go, "Yeah," and they're like, "I had no wait, what the well,
Right.
they called me, but maybe they assumed that someone else answered or something, but they were just like
Ah.
it was the best compliment for my Japanese ability that I think I've had when a Japanese friend didn't recognize who I was, and they thought I was a Japanese person. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. But
Dude, I get that often, especially like my company. Most of the Japanese people speak English
yeah.
fluently,
Hmm.
and when we go out drinking, they're shocked when I can order food. When I know the staff. Like
Yeah.
my favorite yakitori place with all you can drink. I walk in and it's this old guy and this young guy. The young guy comes behind me, starts giving me a massage, and he already knows what I'm going to order. And they're like, "How the fuck?" And then the guy starts saying like, "Oh, Tommy's always here all the time. He always has like a whole bunch of people that comes here." And
Yeah.
I'm speaking to him in Japanese. They're like, "You speak Japanese?" I was like,
Yep.
"Been here 12 fucking years," but that doesn't mean shit.
It
I have
doesn't.
friends who've been here longer who can't speak
Yeah.
a word of English, married to Japanese women who can't speak English.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
Oh man. Well, they probably.
Well, I know how it happens.
Yeah. They get her pregnant
They,
and they get trapped. So. But,
they speak horizontally.
yeah. No,
That's all I'm gonna say.
there's some cool restaurants up here. I know a guy. There's a izakaya that I've been going to for years. The owner's super cool. Like I think most of the staff are either Korean or Chinese. But
That's cool.
yeah, he's a Japanese
Okay.
Japanese owner. But he's so cool and accepting of anyone that comes into his izakaya. And
Right.
one of my friends, New Zealand friends, who was leaving Japan, we were having like I think it was his going away dinner, but as a present, a going away present, he let him be the tencho for the night. So
That's awesome, dude.
like he let him manage the place for the night, and
That's
it was
cool.
like people would come in and he would be the one taking the orders and
That's
accepting him,
fucking
and they're
cool,
just
dude.
like this New Zealand guy there, and there's but he's really cool, yeah.
Dude, that's one of the things. One of the best things I've embraced, especially like where I live now. I live in a college town. My apartment's in between two universities,
Yeah.
which is amazing,
Mhm.
and that's why I chose where I live. But I live on a Shotengai, which is a shopping street.
Yeah.
I'm right where the Shotengai begins. But I live off of this minor street that has two yakitori places, two yakiniku places, a ramen shop, and a bar.
Oh man.
And frequenting these areas, you become like a regular.
Yeah.
I've never seen another foreigner in my area yet, like another non-Asian foreigner.
Yeah.
And when you build that rapport, and I know that you speak Japanese, you start getting treated extremely well, where you get those benefits like that guy would do that. Like if I ever left and I told people like, hey, this is like my last time
Yeah.
going back to America or something, I guarantee I'd get similar
Yeah.
treatment. But being in a smaller area or just being a frequenting a place, I think Japanese people treat us quite well in those senses
Yeah. I have
because we bring them money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a
Not only that, I know.
I have a really funny story. This just happened a few months ago. Another American friend and I were just going out drinking. Everyone else had to like catch a last train back to another place, but we both live near the city center, so we don't have to catch any trains, you know. So we're walking around, and he's like, "Hey, I found this small hole in the wall at izakaya. Let's go check it out." I said, "Okay." We go in there. We're the only two customers at all in this place,
Wow.
and it's a really small place. And this guy's just talking to us. He's like, "What are you having?" We're just two beers, and his shop is like really close to a supermarket, and he's like,
Ooh.
and he says, "Hey guys, look, like he knows my friend from only one time before, and he just met me, and he goes, I gotta step out to get some more food. Can you guys watch my shop while I'm out?" And we're like, "Okay." He goes, "The tap's right here in case anyone comes in." We're like, "Cool." So yeah, he steps out for like 15 minutes, and then he comes back, and yeah, he just like trusted us to just chill out in there. You know?
It's a naivety that wouldn't work back home. Nobody would be that naive to do that, but he's extremely lucky that you guys are honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you guys weren't attacked by the non-existent like people that break into an establishment. Like
exactly.
He's super lucky.
Yeah, and like we were so honest, we didn't even get sneaky beers, you know.
Right. Which you could have, but you didn't.
We easily could have, but yeah, and that's the thing, you know. People give you that sort of trust and responsibility, and if you don't violate it, you have a friend for life after that. You know,
exactly,
dude.
It's
really cool, you know.
Exactly, dude. Like, there's so many places that I go in here, and they like know like me. Like, I my favorite Korean restaurant in the Korean town here in Shinokubo. Like, I'm friends with two of the girls. I've got them online. I've got them on Instagram. Like, I don't have to call to make reservations anymore. I line them saying, "Hey, I'm coming with people," and they're like, "All right, we'll write you down on a board." Like, you get to get these different situations that I think when you build that rapport and you show them that you're a good person, you do get a lot. Like, I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram, like those two girls got me a fucking birthday cake.
Yeah.
When I celebrated my birthday at that Korean restaurant, and my friends brought me a birthday cake, and then suddenly the two girls that work at the shop brought me another birthday cake, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why? Because I'm like friendly with you guys, and I always bring a bunch of drunk people to eat and drink a lot at your place, but that's enough. But they didn't have to do that. It could have stopped at like, hey, here's your reservation, we're glad we can get you in, here's a cake, it's for you, like, oh, here, watch my place. You build that rapport, and I think that trust gets in there quite quickly.
That's one observation I've made here, is like actually becoming close friends with Japanese, for me at least, has been it's hard to break that like kind of outer shell, but once you get in there, it's like, man, they are great, super loyal friends, dude. You know. So
exactly. Like the most non-loyal friends I have here are all like foreigners. Like the most like fly by night, like stab you in the back, like
flaky. Like other Americans are flaky as shit, man.
Oh,
at
dude,
least what I've encountered, you know.
Oh man, same as me. Like living here in Tokyo, it's and that's something that I'm very big on. Like, I will only cancel if I'm sick, and that's it. Like, if I'm not sick, I will go hang out with somebody I don't like. Otherwise, I'll just say no. I'm like, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
And that's it. If I say I'm gonna go, I do not flake. I'll be late, or I'm gonna be sick. But the amount of people who will ask me to do something and then they cancel. Like, the flakiest people easily in Tokyo are all like foreigners. They're just so sketch, and it's all about, like, it's quite self-centered.
Hmm.
And it's a big reason why I don't DJ. It's a big reason why I don't do a lot of work for people with this new idea, with this new company, and I don't have money now. It's like I'm just like, go find somebody who doesn't give a fuck about a paycheck.
Right. Right.
But it's Japanese. All the Japanese people I know are, when it comes to that, like a friend, like
Hmm.
not randos that you meet at a bar. Like they're pretty loyal. They're pretty honest when it comes to like planning shit with your friends,
Right.
and
Right.
that's been quite enjoyable.
That's that's really cool, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's it's really cool that we can meet people like that, and it's funny that the people that flake out the most are either your fellow countrymen or
Right.
people, other foreigners,
Right.
Before we end this, I wanted to
Sure. Sure. Sure.
uh, ask you about, now you said you do freelance stuff on the side.
Yeah.
That's including the photography. What else do you do for freelance work?
So I do a lot of videography, more than photography. Sadly, I've been dying to go shoot some pictures recently. But I actually did. I had some friends, some DJ friend, well, a DJ friend and his wife came to visit last weekend, and I went around and took pictures of them around their favorite places when they lived here in Tokyo. And they paid for it because they first contacted me 2 months before. So that was like the first like I'm sorry, portrait shots I've done in a while. But I've done a lot of event photography, parties, trade shows. I went and I did a videography event for a trade show at Tokyo Big Sight
Mm-hmm.
a month ago. I want to say about a month ago. I This is something that I don't think I even mentioned this, but I did a, what did you say? Not an interview. There was like a video message that a Japanese politician had to deliver to the prefecture that he represents.
Mm.
He wasn't able to make it there because of some things that happened here. But through my friend who helped me get this apartment, he works with like everybody, like a wide gamut of people. But
Right.
that politician is one of them. So I was sitting there in this politician's office in across from what the Japanese like White House is, interviewing this guy. You may have seen a picture I put up on Instagram of like
Yeah, yeah, I
from
did
the
see
window
that.
you can
Hmm.
see the Diet building.
Yeah.
So I sat there, I set up my camera, I set up my light, I sat there and interviewed this guy. Not interviewed, he delivered his message for 30 minutes. I went to this small office, I edited the video, delivered it to him and all of the people in the prefecture that he represents. Saw this video that I shot and edited. Um, I mentioned earlier, I think before we were recording, but I shot a music video over a span of like a month and a half. It
Yeah.
was I finished it last night. I delivered it to, there's, I want to say 3 or 4 producers, a rapper, and then another guy who like does the chorus.
Hmm.
And I delivered that to them this morning. Well, I delivered it to them, yeah, this morning. So once they announce that, I'm going to be like releasing it on like my Instagram, my YouTube, and on Facebook. But I'm to be honest, I'm very fucking proud of the music video. Like it looks like something somebody would pay tons of fucking money for, and I did it for free because I've never shot a music video in my life,
Right.
and
Right.
I don't think I should charge for something I don't have skill or experience in. But it looks like something you'd see on MTV.
But
Hey,
now,
like
yeah, man. But now you can use that as part of your portfolio, and you can start charging big bucks after that. You know what I mean?
and this
So,
is where, like you said, like exposure.
yeah.
Like these guys musically have quite a bit of experience. And the whole talk at the beginning, they're like, "How much do we pay you?" And I was like, "I'll do it for free." We were gonna do a trade for a trade because my YouTube channel I thought would be bigger than it is today. I've just been way too busy to really put the time I want to into it.
Hmm.
And I asked one of the producers, if you make me a song, I'll shoot your music video, which financially a song is worth a lot less than a music video.
Right.
But I was like, who cares? Like you're a professional producer, and I'm like a guy who has a good camera and I have editing skills.
Yeah.
I've never shot a music video, so shooting it was fun. It was just a bunch of drinking and going to clubs and hanging out in VIP with hot girls and drinking all over Shibuya and Tokyo. But when I put it all together and I started color grading it and I started editing it to the music, it's a fucking good music video. Like I'm super proud of it. I'm sick of looking at it because I've been looking
Yeah.
at it for the past like
Yeah.
2 months of like editing
Yeah.
it. Like I come home after like a hard day of work, and I'm here at this computer working on this music video, and I'm glad that it's done, and they're happy with everything I've done, and I can't wait to show it. But that's like it. I want to shoot more like YouTube videos, because the very first YouTube video I released led to 3 paying jobs.
Well, hell.
It was all I had. It's all I had to show for myself.
Yeah.
Was, what type of video do you have? I was like, well, I've got my YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
I had a ryokan pay for me to stay at their ryokan. Not pay for me. Okay, so I got to stay at their ryokan, how would you, Japanese inn?
Yeah.
Japanese style inn.
Yeah.
I got to stay there for free, and then they took me to this monk bar around the corner, and they bought me a fuck ton of alcohol.
Monk bar.
To get,
Interesting.
like, yeah, it's all run by real monks, and that ended up becoming 2 videos on my YouTube, but that ended up not working out. They're a little bit more conservative than my friend who connected me to them. But my very first only solo YouTube video led to that. Had I not made my first YouTube video, it wouldn't have led to a lot of the video work I've done here.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
man, like your channel, you just started it recently. I mean
right.
the quality that I've seen is, blows a lot of people who make videos on the regular out of the water, and what I found, at least on YouTube, man, is people don't really care about quality. It's just like hot button issue shit, clickbait type stuff, and it's come on. Like the real good quality stuff out there doesn't get the attention it deserves, except in your case, it got you 3 paying jobs. So I
right. Outside of YouTube, I was paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get the followers. I didn't get the views. Well, I got followers and I've got views, but not enough to start monetizing yet.
Right.
But it did lead to paying work, which I'm hugely grateful for.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, with the music video, putting the work and the dedication into that's going to lead to so many better things, down the road. So
super looking forward to it. Super looking forward to it.
So speaking of YouTube and Instagram, which you've mentioned, how can people find you online? And you have 2 Instagrams, is that correct?
Yeah, I do have 2 Instagram accounts. One of them is like my private one that I started first. And one of my old friends, she was like, she used to tell me I should be on Instagram because one of her photographer friends was on there, and he was getting a lot of paid work through his Instagram. And she was like, you're a way better photographer, plus you're bilingual and you're able to communicate with Japanese clients, and you'll be able to get from there. So I started my initial Instagram account, which took me a lot longer than everybody else.
Right.
Because all my pictures used to go on Flickr.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my regular one, which is Tommy, Tommy _ Villain, Villain, which is my old DJ name. So that is what I would say my main busiest Instagram account. Shea, looking at it, would probably see. So I'm trying to say this without sounding like a dick. I have to be honest, and it's something I take for granted, but I live quite a... God, I really fucking hate saying this, but I live quite an exciting... Okay, I live quite an exciting life. I go out a lot. I'm always out, like, for lack of a better term, partying.
Yeah.
And those quote fingers again. I'm always around with a lot of, like, cute girls. I'm around, like, DJs and shit like that. I'm eating and I'm drinking, doing various things, and my friends are always like, oh my God, that looks like so cool. But for me, it's fucking normal. These are like my friends, or they're my friends' friends.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't do it to say, look how cool I am. You do it just because that's how you live, And
it's literally like, it's why my YouTube video came up my 12th year in a fucking country. I've got way crazier shit I should have been recording years ago.
Yeah.
But people have like, why don't you have a YouTube? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Like, your life is so exciting, and I was just like, it's normal for me.
Yeah.
So now that more and more people are looking at it, like, holy shit, like, you do like wild, crazy shit all the time. Like, I have my second to last YouTube video is me in Korea, and it's just like my Korea trip is just four days, 3 nights, just nuts. Like, first day to like the morning I left, and it only tells like half of the story of that trip.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, Korea looks great. But I'm like, oh, with my 2 friends that were there, it was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And like the last video I released was I was supposed to shoot a video of my friend dancing like traditional Japanese dance, and it's literally just a bunch of us drunk at this Okinawan restaurant before we went to go see my friend, which was this much of the video.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, I guess I need to not take it for granted of what I do here and what I have access to and what my life leads me to here. I need to document it more. And now that this video is done, I've got time for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, what you consider normal could be amazing for somebody else, you know. And
Exactly.
that's something I had to realize too. Is I always thought, who wants to see what I do?
Right,
And
right, right, right,
but
right, right, right.
when I actually put videos up on YouTube, um, they would get a lot more hits than I was like. That's. I thought that was a little bit boring actually, but no, there were
Right,
people who
right,
were
right.
interested and would give me compliments on it. I'm just like, okay, but
That's so
that's
weird.
something you got to learn is what's normal for you. It could be so cool to somebody else, you know.
Right, right.
So
And
just put it out there, you know.
exactly. I mean, like you took me to that like YouTube party like
Yeah,
years ago,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was not even inspiring to start my YouTube channel because I was like, I live a little bit more exciting life than these guys' videos. Like I
exactly.
checked and I was like, wait a minute, like the
Yeah,
shit that I do, and I still didn't even do it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
still avoided like the whole YouTube thing, and like I'm not like the whole oh my god, Japan's the greatest country in the world. Oh my god, look, I'm eating sushi. Oh,
yeah,
look at
yeah,
Harajuku street. Like, I'm like, here's this kind of like exclusive party with all of my attractive friends, and we're like having a great time, or we're just being stupid on like Center Guy in Shibuya,
yeah,
or we're at Yoyogi Park for Hanami. We're just like drinking, listening to music, and there's this old guy dancing, and I'm like dancing with the guy. Like, that stuff is like what I would do camera or no camera.
yeah,
It's actually
exactly.
scary being like that with my camera, but
Yeah,
I've got to be a bit more careful. But
yeah.
it's something that I think not everybody gets to experience, or you don't see it on everybody's channel.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's cool is you're actually unique in that you're not the guy that's going to sushi restaurants or 7-Eleven and saying, "Look at this wacky Hello Kitty shit," you
Right,
know,
right,
like
right, right, right.
you're not
Fuck
doing
that,
that.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
fuck that,
I was
fuck
just
that, fuck
talking
that.
to a guy earlier today on another show about that. It's like, yeah, that's cool if you can if that's your thing,
Right,
but those are like dime a dozen, you know,
right, right, right.
and
Exactly,
if you
exactly.
have something unique, I would put it out there, man. Yeah,
Right.
because what I've found putting stuff online is there's an audience for everything,
Of course,
you
dude.
know,
Of
and
course,
you
of
just
course, of
gotta
course.
put it out there and they'll come, you know,
Right.
and anything that you have, you can either help somebody or inspire somebody or just entertain somebody that
Exactly.
normally wouldn't if you didn't put it out, you know. So never
And
think that your life is just too normal or too boring to put it out there because someone's gonna find it entertaining, you know.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
One of the biggest inspirations for me starting my YouTube channel, which I guess I should share the name for it later.
yeah.
But
Just sorry to interrupt, but just
sure, sure, sure.
I'll have all of the links and stuff in the
Oh,
show
okay,
notes.
cool.
So you go ahead and tell the audience when you want, but
Of
I
course, of
will have
course.
the links for it so people
Oh, I
can find
appreciate it,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But what I was saying, the biggest influence I had was Halloween last year.
Mm-hmm.
I watched some YouTube channel about how to make specific settings for like a Instagram story sized video
Mm-hmm.
and how to shoot it and all of that. So me and my friends were out in Shibuya where I work, like it was minutes from my office, and we were just out having a crazy wild night like everybody in fucking Shibuya. And I was making these Instagram stories, and I was like, holy fuck, if I made this like an episode of like my YouTube, it would have been a way better than this 15-second clip
Right.
on an app that not everybody is using or was using. Well, like YouTube has a much wider audience. So that's something that kind of became a goal for me. And I now have two friends from America who are going to come and crash at my apartment just to experience Halloween because of my Instagram.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Now, had I done it on YouTube, I'd have other people who aren't my friends coming out to do it. I might have
Yeah.
other people who aren't my friends.
Yeah.
And that's the impact I want. I want people to enjoy what I enjoy out of Japan. Like if you're somebody who likes to go like to music festivals and kind of be wild and you don't care about ninja and anime and manga and robot cafes, like you can get a lot out of Japan, but I think they don't have that image.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it's also kind of why I do this podcast is I wanna talk to people who do different things in
Right,
Japan,
right.
and so it shows a different aspect of Japan to people, and maybe motivates people who would normally think about Japan in a certain way. Maybe like, hey, maybe I should give that a shot. You know?
Exactly,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
So
exactly. But to fast forward, so that YouTube channel, it's called Twain's World, Twain apostrophe S World. So Twain, Thomas Wayne Adams N Nihon. Twain's World, like the movie Wayne's World. So if you don't put the apostrophe, you're gonna get Shania Twain. There's some Shania Twain YouTube channel, but
the more you put out, the more it'll lead to your channel, though. So
yeah,
yeah.
I've got to be a little bit more well known than Shania Twain. But now that this music video is done, I've got a ton of things to put out. So hopefully I'll get more videos on there.
Okay.
And so I did mention earlier my main Instagram one. So if you like Instagram stories, or if you like just like what I'm eating in Japan, or the random shit I do on like a drunk night out, which will be tomorrow.
And the
That
Hooters girls.
The Hooters girls,
Yeah.
yes, that I've befriended and I've
Yeah.
hung out with outside of Hooters.
Yeah.
Which is totally, I shouldn't say, well, I won't say their names, but
Yeah.
well, one of their names is mentioned on. Yeah, don't look too much into my Instagram. She might get in trouble. But
Yeah.
that's the Tommy._villain. Again, that's my Instagram. That's my most common one. If you just want photography and you don't give a fuck about my videos or craziness, it's Tommy Adams Photography. So at Tommy Adams Photography. And that one is a lot. I forget about that one sometimes.
Yeah.
But I went out, I planned to shoot, I shot some pictures, I came home, I spent time editing them, and I upload them there. But I also upload them on a Tommy Villain one, but you've got to go through all my bullshit on that one.
Yeah.
Tommy Adams Photography is just photography. Or any cool videos that I shoot that are really quick and planned, that look cinematic, and that's it.
Okay. Well, Tommy, thank you very much. I'd
No, I
love to have you
appreciate it.
back at some point.
Sure.
You have a lot of stories to tell, but
Oh, God.
yeah. So
Way too many.
yeah, I'll point everyone into the direction of your Instagram and your YouTube channel. Is there
Okay.
any last words you'd like to part with the audience with?
Ah, wow, that's the most difficult question. Um,
That's what everyone says.
One, no, I know, really, really. One thing I have to say is like Japan is probably if you are on. Okay, let me say this. If you're on the fence about, oh, I've always wanted to live in Japan, I've always wanted to live in Japan. I always say live in Japan. It's quite easy, especially if you are a native English speaker, to get a job here. Granted, it's not going to be a high-paying job, but get it. If you don't care about learning the language, move to Tokyo. Tokyo isn't as big and scary as you probably think it is. You can realize quite quickly that Tokyo is small to the extent that you'll run into people you know quite often. If you care about the culture, move to Kyoto. Sorry, move to Kyoto. Move to Osaka if you don't want to be that countryside. Avoid the countryside if you don't like being stared at. If you've never been a minority where you're from, avoid the countryside. When you come to Japan, buy alcohol at the convenience store and you can drink it on the street. It's open carry. You don't need to worry about being arrested or harassed by cops here.
Hmm.
Don't fly your drone. It over parks.
And drop
But
candy on kids.
right, drop candy or drones on kids.
Yeah.
But just I think everybody who's been in America, we're very Europe centric. I think if you're going to set foot in Asia to get yourself started, start with Japan.
Yeah.
And I would say almost start with Tokyo first. I'm a huge fan of South Korea and Seoul. It's my favorite city in Asia. But I would always say start in Tokyo first. It's clean. The people are polite. The food is sanitary. They don't cut corners for anything. There's no laws that they're going to pass, or I'm sorry, skip over to save a buck. So I always say Tokyo's a great gateway drug to Asia.
Yeah.
And I think you should just do it. Don't just say I want to. And it's not as expensive as you probably think it is.
Okay.
And that's my thing. It's nothing about me. It's just literally I wish more people would come and experience Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've sold. I don't really like Tokyo, but you've pretty much sold me on Tokyo right there. So.
I
So
fucking
thanks.
love Tokyo.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and
No problem.
yeah, I'd love to have you back sometime. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Just ask,
it.
man. I'll make time.
Okay.